All right, so before we get into question of the day and what it looks like and how you can apply it, I want to start off with a broader overview about why you want to use discussion in your teaching in the first place. So some key benefits for students to think about in terms of having discussions on a regular basis is discussions really give students the opportunity to provide their own interpretations, right? Students get to talk about whatever the discussion is, right? As if it's a piece of text, if it's a video, if it's something that you've been talking about in class, if it's a lecture, whatever it is, they get to offer their own idea. They also get to ask questions that are important to them. Okay, so discussions give students the opportunity to pose the questions, as opposed to, as the teacher, you always putting the questions out there. Discussions give at least some space for students to ask questions. And as, of course, students are talking and offering their ideas and asking questions, then they get to hear, right, different interpretations, different questions, different thoughts about the subject from others. And then as a result, what's happening is students are processing their understandings of the content, and then they're reprocessing their understandings as they hear interpretations and questions from you and from other students. Now, one of the tricky things, of course, is getting students to participate, because one of the things that I'm sure that you're aware of is that you're going to have students that participate more, are excited to participate, and students that are going to participate less. And sometimes that's about the topic, right? Sometimes students are more excited about a topic and want to say more, but then you've also got students that seem like they always have something to say, they always have a question to ask, no matter what the topic is. And on the flip side, you always seem to have students that you can't get them to ask a question, you can't get them to talk, nothing seems to really get them motivated. And it's important to understand that there are reasons why students don't participate, and we're going to take a look at some of these. So the first is, like, they don't know how. Okay, maybe they just have very limited experiences with discussions. Maybe they have some very bad experiences with discussions. Maybe they think of discussions as, the teacher asks the question and they're supposed to give the answer. Maybe that's the only way they've experienced them. So they may not know what it is that you want them to do and what it is that we're going to be talking about here with question of the day. The other thing is that some of your students are not used to being seen as capable. So if you have students, for example, that have academic difficulties, particularly academic reading difficulties, and we're talking about middle school students and high school students who have a history of these difficulties, they may not think that what they have to say is valued, and they may think that they should be quiet because they're just going to give the wrong answer, or they're going to give a bad idea. So they don't really see their thoughts and ideas as having any value. So we have to know how to work with them, and we'll be talking about that too. And then participating can be scary, right? Particularly for students who have a history of academic difficulties, because for these students, if you talk to them, what they're going to say is, when they participate, right, they're really putting themselves out there, because if they don't have something of value to say, then all they're doing is demonstrating, according to them, right, how dumb they are, that they're weak, that they're limited, that they aren't a good reader, that they're not very smart, right? These are the kinds of things that they'll tell you if you talk to them. So getting students to participate is something that we want to work on here with question of the day. And then finally, the thing to think about is, if you can get students to participate, okay, there's lots of possible benefits that are going to come out of this, which is they're going to get a greater understanding of texts. They're going to increase their understanding of ideas, right, because they're talking and engaging and hearing all these multiple interpretations. They're going to open up more, right? We want students to be confident, to be able to say, here's where I need help, which in some cases, as a teacher, you're going to be able to step in and help them immediately, and sometimes other students are going to be able to help them. This, in turn, becomes empowering for students, right? Because all of a sudden they start to see themselves differently. Okay, so if you've got students that never participate, all of a sudden they realize, hey, this is helpful to me as a reader, it's helpful to me as a learner, I'm growing, and I'm contributing. So these are some of the benefits for discussion, some of the limitations in terms of why students might not participate, but these are some of the real payoffs for all students, particularly students who might have really had some academic difficulties and struggles throughout their lives.